changing your life one story at a time. This is the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast with Editor-in-Chief Amy Newmark.
Hey, it's Amy Newmark with some instant inspiration from Chicken Soup for the Soul. So the holidays are coming, and that creates a lot of stress for those of us who have unresolved issues with friends or family members, particularly family members. So I thought it would be a good time to revisit a very helpful book that we made called Chicken Soup for the Soul, The Power of Forgiveness. I want you to hear about a couple of role models who figured out how to patch things up with their family members. The first story is by Michael T. Smith, and it's called He's My Brother. And that's what Michael talks about, his estranged brother, and what Michael finally did about that situation. Michael tells us about a Christmas that was like all their other Christmases, in that he and his wife, who were living in the U.S., called his family in Canada and everything went as normal. But Michael couldn't relax that day because he had one more call that he needed to make. And it was because 5 years before, he had received an email from his brother that made him angry. His brother actually didn't say anything bad, but Michael was out of work at that time and his life was very stressful, and there was something in that email that just hit him the wrong way at that stage in his life. And he had written back an angry email, a very angry one. It was an email that was filled with months of frustration, and after he sent that email, he thought of some more things he was upset about, and he sent another email just as nasty as the first one. He told his brother that he didn't care if he ever heard from him again. Now, his brother wrote back the very next day, but Michael deleted that email without even reading it. And his brother had tried to reach out to him for 5 years, but Michael had always ignored him. Of course, he felt guilty and ashamed the whole time he was doing that. And so it was finally time to fix it. So Michael got up his courage and he called his brother. He didn't even have to look up the number. He still knew it by heart. And then he got the answering machine. So Michael left a message, and he said, "Bob, it's Mike. I guess I'll start by saying I'm sorry. I said some things I regret. I want to wish you and Dolores a Merry Christmas, and I hope all is well with you. I realize you may not want to talk to me, but I thought I would try. I want to make it right again. If you want to talk," and then he left his number. So Christmas came and went. He didn't hear back from his brother. But then a week after the call, Michael got an email from his brother, and they started emailing back and forth, and that was the beginning of the healing. And Michael says that he can't believe he didn't apologize 5 years earlier, but at least he finally did it. And now he says he and his brother are close again. They're family again.
The Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast continues straight ahead.
Chicken Soup for the Soul celebrates your pets and the power of the human-animal bond. I'm Robin Ganzert, CEO of American Humane and host of the new podcast from Chicken Soup for the Soul, Loving Animals. Every week, I'm joined by celebrities and other special guests who share a passion for spreading care, hope, and compassion for the world's unique species. You'll hear inspiring stories of animal rescue and rehab, plus the latest trends in animal welfare. Chicken Soup for the Soul presents Loving Animals with me, Robin Ganzert. Available on Apple Podcast, Google Play, or anywhere you download your favorite podcast.
One of the things that many of us grapple with during the holidays is how to deal with exes. It's a time of year when it would be much easier for everyone, especially the kids, if we could do some holiday things together. So I loved a story by Linda LaRocque, who found herself spontaneously inviting her ex-husband to dinner 27 years after their divorce. She had run across her ex-husband Bob at the funeral of a mutual friend, and it had been years since they'd had any contact. And even though Linda had heard that Bob had been sick, nothing prepared her for how bad he looked. She said that the man she had divorced was a vibrant, high-powered businessman, but the man she ran into at the funeral was painfully thin and stooped and frail. And she thought that might be why she blurted out her dinner invitation. And he looked as shocked as she was when she invited him to dinner. But he said yes, and so the dinner was on. And Linda decided that she was going to make him his old favorite, meatloaf. And she also put some flowers out. She was trying to impress him and show him what he gave up when they got divorced all those years before. And then she thought about what her sister had said to her recently. Her sister had said, "Don't you think it's time you started forgiving?" And Linda had said to her sister that she wasn't going to forgive her ex after the way he had hurt her during their marriage. But her sister said, "Well, you still love him. It's just in a different ex-husband way." And she cited a quote. I don't know the author of the quote, but the quote says, "Regardless of circumstances, love never dies. It just sleeps until forgiveness wakes it up." So Bob came over for dinner, and Linda actually enjoyed talking to him. Maybe it was the wine, but after dinner, she decided to tell him how she felt and how angry she had been all those years. And she also admitted to him that the breakdown of their marriage was her fault too. And she told him that she still valued the years they had been together. She asked him to forgive her for all the hate she had carried for him all those years. When he left, carrying the leftover meatloaf because he loved it so much, Linda felt better than she had in years. She says, "Every angry thought I'd ever had about him was gone." And then she tells us that was the last time she ever saw Bob because he passed away 8 months later. If you'd like to learn more about Chicken Soup for the Soul, The Power of Forgiveness, please visit chickensoup.com and click on podcasts to get more information about the book. Thanks for listening to the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast today. And please follow me on Twitter if you haven't already. My handle is @AmyNewmark. I'll post a link to the podcast every day, or you can subscribe to it on Apple Podcasts or Google Play, or wherever you like to get your podcasts. Come back for our next episode when I'll be sharing a couple of truly unexplainable stories from our new book, Chicken Soup for the Soul, Dreams and the Unexplainable. I can't explain them, but I'll tell you this. One woman dreamt about a hidden room in her house, and the other dreamt about a hidden sister. And you may be guessing where I'm going with this.